Feminism. Equal rights or glorification of women? It's become misconstrued, and this is because of commercialization of the feminist movement, portraying different ideas to the general public and ultimately delegitimizing the movement. Because of this, we are so proud to propose the motion that this House believes the commercialization of feminism is detrimental to the movement. During this speech, I'll be exploring 3 different ideas to why this is true, and summarizing the round, starting with the movement in and of itself. Because how is the movement losing momentum? And ultimately, we see that this is because of the fact that the movement in and of itself is not being seen in the right light. So, first, why does the movement even matter? Well, we see that women do have to make steps through reproductive rights, the wage gap, and reducing rape culture. But what we also see that it's being seen as just the acceptance of the female body through beauty products and cosmetics, where this is not necessarily the true essence of the movement and why it needs to happen. But because of commercialization and these companies selling products based off of women's insecurities in order to say it in the name of feminism and make their lives better, they're ultimately exploiting the problem, shining it in a light that will give them profit, and then taking women's insecurities and making money because of them. Because when you can add a Twitter hashtag to something or hit the hot topics of attention within today's society, what we're going to see is that's going to give you popularity. That's going to give you more publication and thus more popularity, and ultimately advertisements. And we see that companies want to make money. Thus, they look to the way that they can do this. And if your target is women, why not say it in the name of feminism? Well, we see that this is going to delegitimize the movement because of the fact that it portrays the movement in a way that is contrary to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is not the acne on my face. The root of the problem is the wage gap. The fact that there is increasing rape culture and the reproductive rights needing to be increased, not only in the United States that these products are based, but also around the world itself. We see that most of this advertisement is getting the most publicity within the movement, which is what's going to happen is it's going to overshadow the real problems, and then they're going to be seen less seriously because what's being seen is publicity for the movement in a light that it is not intended to be seen as. Now, secondly, let's look at commercializing. Does it even care about every single woman because of these countries focusing? And the answer is no. These companies only focus on whoever's going to buy their products, exploiting other women, other culture, and people around the world, as long as the people that are buying their product can buy it in the name of feminism. For example, we see that in India, the cosmetics programs have violated child labor laws where there's 20,000 kids working, 90% of them being illegal because of their age. We see that Indian women will try to do anything in order to get work, oftentimes falling back to these countries. And the reason is because of laws that are restricting women's rights to work and giving them the lack of rights to prevent harassment within the other workplaces. So what we see is that they're working for companies that are selling to other countries in the name of feminism when they don't even value it for their own customers. On top of this, we can also look at the clothing industry in Cambodia, where 90% of their workers are women. However, there's also forced overtime, sexual harassment, more child workers because of the mothers needing to work so much overtime, no breaks within their works, and they're not allowed to create unions in order to make life better for them because of all of these harms coming upon the women working in these areas. If they truly supported a movement, it would be considered to more women than just the ones who are buying their products. The women who are suffering the most from the root of the problem are not the ones being targeted by these companies that are claiming feminism, and it's ultimately going to undermine the purpose, where we see that they're not actually solving the problem that they claim they're solving. And lastly, we can see that how can something succeed if it is constantly counterproductive, right? So, can you clean a dirty plate with a muddy washcloth? No, you can't. Can you fix a cup with a hammer? No, you can't. And this is because in either situation, it's either going to rub in the original problem and make it more myopic, or it's going to create more pieces of the problem and make it more complicated to try and solve. This is what's happening when celebrities claim to do things in the name of feminism. They're either going to muddy the waters and make it more confusing to those who are trying to find the root of the problem, or add more complexity to the problem by creating more pieces. Emma Watson claims to be a feminist, but then she goes and plays a part in Beauty and the Beast, where she is a woman who is literally locked in a tower because she was trying to save her father. And we see that this exploitation and these contradictions go against it. And we also see that some women just claim to be feminists in order to help their image, such as Taylor Swift, which also inherently hurts not only the movement in the long term, but also the women themselves. So when commercialization is causing the movement to lose power, create more harms than the status quo because of inhumane working conditions, and is ultimately counterproductive when there's so many contradictories happening with those who claim to be helping it, we see that consumer or celebrity, feminism is a label that can be put on and then taken off when it's convenient. We see that feminism can come from many different ideas. It's loving your female friends or wanting women to actually have choices. Thus, we propose because of these problems.